It's always been such a pain, such a pity, these constant prayers for my city. But when it's time to move them things, I knew the witty and the gritty. So now I battle, fight, or struggle, tenaciously to achieve or resist. Empower you stronger, ensure you endure long enough to persist. I network a system of interconnected people or things. Provide a platform for personal reform and see what that brings. So welcome to Battle and Power Network podcast series. Let's discuss. All right, so welcome to this week's discussion segment, Motion Picture Effects, Episode 1, The Da Vinci Prospect, presented by the Battle and Power Network podcast series. I am your host, Battle, and this week I am with painter, artist extraordinaire, Miss Selina Lopez. And this week we're going to take a modern look at art. But first we're going to take a look at our showcase video, The Da Vinci Prospects. I promise to leave you with a history, a consistency, because it only makes sense to me to lead the resistance on no pretense. So I'll insist I'll resist my own temptations, that direction I stray to when things get too intense. I vow to keep my word and like play, I'll twist this for your interest. Gotta leave you defenseless since senses aren't so common, I need to knock you senseless. Just reawaken your consciousness to the most uncommonest of solutions. You know, dilution of the pollution that's driving you insane. Where your heart lies, where the blood flows, straight to your brain. I introduce a simplistic parasite deducing how we are all the same. An idea about love like a rose by any other name. Delivered to you sweet, but still a parasite, so think. They asked me what is pain, so I grabbed a knife, made a sacrifice, and split open a vein. I squeezed tight, forcing the blood to drip from my grip, stand back and stare at all of it. The pain wasn't in the cut, or the blood spilling from it. It was in the minuscule moments before of euphoria, when your life starts to slip away and it never meant more to you. Maybe I got it all wrong. Maybe it's in the impact of that bullet that pierced Tamir Rice's skin. Maybe it's in his mother's tears knowing that she'll never see her baby again. Maybe it's in the bloody chunks of Marquis' hand in Benghazi. Maybe it's in the hurt knowing we almost lost Kehlani's tsunami. Or that needle overdose to the fiend who chased too close to the edge. Or knowing Brock Turner got 3 months for 20 minutes of action before they pried him from that young girl's legs. So in disdain, I remain convinced there's too much to pain to explain all of it. I always knew hope was dead, so I put that needle in my vein, I put that gun to my brain, 'cause America ain't like what they said. Land of the oppressed minorities, where the seniority majority will claim that oppression does not exist, where they could shoot a man who's down with his hands up claiming he tried to resist. Don't ask me about hope. I'd need to smoke dope, grab more rope, and string myself up next to Otis, as they proclaim and explain how I should just be happy they gave us a black POTUS. So I'll wade in these waters. I'll fight for the fathers who don't get to come home to their daughters. 'Cause a drug crime is a life sentence when you're black. It's systematic oppression, understand, we are all under attack. You might just be the model minority. I saw the blacks following the bag, picking up the slack, taking lower wages accordingly. They'll hold us on bail, force mandatory minimums, ensuring we're raised in cells. It's 'cause they know prisons need profits and slaves run from hell. So I'll stand out, never asking for a handout. Just letting you know what you have a hand in. Genocide of the impoverished based on 1 inch of skin. My black is not a crime and it does not make me dangerous. But then again, black men are just entertainment for the world. How could we expect you to be just? On that separate but equal. All people but you get just us and we're left with just us. So, don't ask me about hope. That shit been dead. And that was our showcase video, Da Vinci Prospects. I'm here once again with Selina Lopez. So just taking a look at art in general, what are some of your biggest influences in the pieces that you make?
I haven't painted so many different people that I would like to paint. I haven't gotten around to it, but I mostly stick to just rappers, hip-hop. That's definitely a huge influence. I have to listen to the music while I paint. Another influence, I guess, would be, like, for my galaxies that I paint with spray paint, would be just my interest in outer space and NASA and things like that.
I think that that's cool to be able to do both, because everybody sees like those pieces on the side of the road when they just make it really quick. I think to be able to be that person is something that's, I don't know, because we paint pictures differently. We were talking about that too.
Yeah.
Like I paint them with my words more so. That's why I had so much fun, because we even got to talk a little bit about poetry, and hip hop is influenced in both of our works. So I think that that made the showcase a little better, and that provides, you know, great influence for people. In all of that, what creative processes have come from that? Because you did say that you listen to hip hop while you create your pieces. What other rituals have been created from it?
Mostly just really listening to the lyrics. Although like most of my paintings are just portraits, it's just while I'm painting, I like just envision the lyrics and everything that they're talking about, and it's just, I don't know, it just inspires me to go just keep painting and keep doing what I'm doing, because a lot of people that rap and just people in hip hop, they're always like rapping about how they came from the bottom, and like, I don't know, I just think stories like that are so inspiring.
Yeah.
And I just like to listen to that, because I think that's motivating. That's one of the most motivating.
Yeah, depending on how you like you take hip hop, like a lot of people take it as, okay, well, you're just rapping about doing absolutely nothing, basically just popping pills and stuff, but they don't see that it reflects things that are actually going on. And both of them capture those moments. Like using your words, you're able to capture whatever you're going through, whatever you're experiencing. So all of it in general is just insane to think about. Like you're able to capture this moment just through words or just through painting or a little piece. And it made it significant because a lot of people were saying, well, if she was painting Trayvon or something, it would fit a little more with the words, but it's like, no, because he's even woven in our society. Hip hop is kind of reflected in this culture that we're seeing right now. So, I mean, that's how I knew that poetry was something that was for me, because I started realizing like, hey, I can represent a group of people in this time. So just looking at that, when did you know that painting or this form of art medium was for you?
It just came. It kind of came as an outlet for me. And when I started it, I didn't think that it would turn into like, I don't know, I didn't know that that's what I wanted to pursue until I started to really do it. And then once I started, it just connected me. That's the thing that I like about it now, is that it connected me with so many different people. I've met so many people just like here in Fresno or just in the Central Valley in general, like other cities around, and you know, they'll to do like a collaboration or just to work together and to get to know new people through the same interest is what really gets me, because it's different, you know.
And you did the Tupac festival that they had here, right?
Yeah.
So like I think that's a good purpose of it too, because it was able to bring everybody together. I'm not sure if you made the Tupac piece specifically for that, but being able to showcase that, like, hey, this man impacted my life, because it all ties like in together, you know. And you're right, it did help, because we ended up meeting through that. Like I wouldn't have gotten to the Valley Boys if it wasn't for music. Like that's what drew them to me. And then from that, you know, they introduced me to you, so it was check, check, check. Like, you know, the world just kind of revolved in that order, and we got, you know, some projects hopefully coming up. So in that, like, I know that you always start somewhere, and we never think about like where we're gonna end, but as far as career development, where do you see your career going? Like, what's the next step for you?
I have a plan. I kind of want to open my own shop up. I want to have,
Go for it, go for it.
I mean, like, I really want to just anything. What I want in there really is like my art. I want to be able to like just display my stuff. I don't know, I'm kind of everywhere with that, because I want to make, I used to make comic books when I was little. And I used to sell them to my family for like $1.25. I had like a little plastic register. I used to sell them just for some quarters, you know. Like I guess I've always sold art, and I didn't realize that until this year, actually. I was like, wow, I guess I've always done it. I just came back to it. But yeah, I want to do comic books. I'm trying to work on my clay work. I want to be able to make like little figures, like clay figures, toys, action figures.
You ever think of like tattoos?
You know what, that is one thing I've never actually thought I want to do that. that kind of makes me nervous.
But yeah, because it's like
It's permanent.
it's not as spaced out either. Because with your pieces, you could always just like sketch a face and be like, all right, I'm going to come back and paint this later. Or like down the line with that, it's like, no, this is on somebody's skin and you got this one shot. And I think that that's terrible because a lot of tattoo artists should say no and they don't. But there's I think there's like a lot of painters who should tattoo people because they would probably be good. But then you don't know how someone is with ink and all of that.
Yeah,
so.
I think one thing with that too is I don't have any tattoos yet, so that makes me like, I don't have any. But I really like to see them on people.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would get one.
No, as soon as I turn 18, I have, it's what, clouds and like a halo and a basketball, and it's like quotes that go to like right here. That was my very first tattoo.
I saw that. Yeah.
And then I'm like here, 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 here.
Dang.
And I want to get more, but I set like personal goals for myself. Like I'm not gonna get another tattoo until I accomplish this. And after I turn 18, I got one every year. Like my rose goes from here. You know, it's a little different, but I actually like the pain too. I'm like a little weirdo in that sense, but like I enjoyed it. It was something that was like, okay, what am I gonna use to mark this portion of my life? Because I see it as like a temple, like I put that in a poem.
Yeah.
So I try to like think of it as, okay, what can I add to me that's always gonna be a reminder? When I got my first one, I didn't even think like, one day I'm gonna wake up and there's just gonna be this thing there. The first couple of days I was scared because I woke up and I seen it there and I was like, what the fuck is that? What is that? And then like, you know, you're like sleep, so you're like trying to wipe it off and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm tatted. I want it to be, you know, I want it to be tatted up. And then, you know, I got to the ink my whole body, you know, point. And then I kind of throttled back because I was like, well, I want to save it for something special. If I am pushing and promoting this idea of it being a temple, like I should probably pace myself a little bit. I almost got like a tattoo saying bitch be cool. Just because like I had like really bad anger issues.
Really?
So I'm just like, maybe I just need a reminder to just be like, all right, bitch, be cool. Just be cool.
My gosh.
But
That's
like,
funny.
and that was something I wanted to get when I was 18. And I don't even like the word bitch. Like,
So you would have regretted it
I would have
now?
regretted it so much because I hate that word. I hate that word. Looking into, you know, the career development, like who's one person on this planet that you would love to create a piece for?
That's really hard because I want to say, okay, like a modern day rapper, J. Cole is my favorite.
Yeah.
I know like all the lyrics to every J. Cole song. Like anybody that knows me,
We're
I
gonna
already
put
know.
this to the test.
Huh? Oh, no,
not
no.
today, not today. But
No.
we're gonna put that one to the test because I love J. Cole. I was thinking like that'd be cool. We did like the showcase video, and it's just like a series of poems. That's what it's gonna be edited down to, a series of poems. But if I had a dream to be able to create with somebody too, I would want it to be J. Cole because I feel like that would be something profound you could mark in history now. Like you can't go back and say, oh, I would make, you know, something with Tupac today because he doesn't even have the same generational effect. But it's like get a J. Cole. I'm waiting for Wale to step up. I was listening to some Wale this morning and I was like, where are you at, Wale? Like matrimony, like he has metaphors for weeks. But yeah, so that's who I would go for. But J. Cole?
Oh my gosh, yeah. No, that would be like a dream, seriously. I don't know what I would do for him though. So that's the thing. So if I were to pick J. Cole, I would definitely want to do something other than, I wouldn't do a portrait of him and like, you know, I would want to give him something cool.
Yeah.
But see, that's why I'm split because I feel like, I would really want to do something for him, but I would also want to do something for someone like Kid Cudi or Logic. More specifically because of their space-themed stuff, I feel like I could do something really cool with that. And I would love to gift any of the three, anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. They should all make a track together too.
Oh,
All this is just giving me more ideas of people who should work together. So that was just taking a little bit of a look at Selina as an artist. So you can always catch her on social media. Any social media sites?
Instagram, Slagger with 3 R's, SLAGGERRR.
Absolutely. It's also in the video. We're going to be showcasing that. So just moving over to take a different look at the industry because I think it's very important for us to speak about art from our generation. I'm not sure if it was us that had the conversation, but the painters and, you know, the philosophers, they were the same people, you know, years ago. They kind of influenced society and things that were going on, and we're missing an opportunity. There's so many more people in the world, so it's not as exposed to certain artists. So we miss stuff like social media spits out so many people. BMO's art, Tony Moffat. Like, there's some great artists, and people stop by and they see their work, they like it, even you, but they don't necessarily stay around, you know? So I think art is very important. What are 3 things that you've learned about art?
I'm going to give you something that I'm still trying to learn, actually.
Okay.
So there's always going to be someone that you think is better than you. Like, yeah, so you have to learn, and I have a lot of trouble with, well, I would say less now, but like, I think every artist, no matter what you do, whether you paint, you rap, you do anything, you're like constantly like, oh man, like, that person's so good, I wish I could be that good, you know? So I would say one lesson is try not to compare yourself
Absolutely.
to other artists, because there's always going to be someone that's better. And that's on some level.
I would say there's different niches and everybody has a different like.
Right.
So in the sense, like, I would never tell any artist, hey, you suck, you need to, because like there's a niche and there's a room for everybody. Like there is a market for you. So I feel like because there's so many genres, we were talking about this in music, like there's not just hip hop anymore. There's rap, there's the mumble rap, there's, you know, Southern music, LA, East Coast, like gangster rap. You have all of these different areas. So I think there's a market for everybody. But I personally, I don't try to compare myself. I always think like what I'm doing is like nothing anybody else is doing. Yes, it's poetry, but mine's is so hip hop infused. Like it's not even like I'm slamming. It's like I'm doing a freestyle to like my own beat, you know? So like that's hard for me to try to explain. I was even telling somebody like I'm waiting to get bad reviews. Like, you know, I'm waiting for somebody to say, hey, your shit sucks. So to me in my head, I'm like, it's cool, but it could be better because somebody out there like that shit sucks. But they're not telling me. So it's like I use that to push myself. But 2 more lessons, what's up?
That's funny that you said all that right now, because that leads me to my next one. I think is really important to keep in mind is that, okay, if you're comparing yourself, well, there's also people that aren't going to like it. Like, not everybody is going to like your style, you know?
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I try to remind myself, too, is like, I mean, I've never had anyone like you said, like, you don't just go slaughter someone's hopes and dreams.
And be like, you suck.
Yeah.
You're terrible. You're a piece of, no.
Yeah.
Like, I would never, I don't think anybody should ever do that.
Yeah, no, definitely not. But there is always going to be someone that's just like, you know. Because there's probably people out there that are like, oh, all she paints is people that exist. And they're like, oh, that's whack, because they could think of something and paint it. And I have a lot of trouble doing that. So, like, I'm a visual person.
Yeah.
And then, well, not the galaxies, but just, like, the portraits.
Yeah. I was going to say, you seen all those stars before?
Yeah.
Like, you seen all of them?
Well, that's all random, but the portraits.
You could just create, like, little dots and stuff and just be like, yeah, that's Pluto or something. Who knows? Like, who's going to check me? Like, nobody's going to look up there. No, but, and then last one?
The last one, I would say when you have, like, artist block, just keep doing it anyway. Like, keep practicing, keep doing it, because it's just for a moment. And that's for anybody.
Yeah.
Literally anybody that does anything artistic, or even people that play sports, if they're having, like, their off day or whatever. If you just keep practicing, like,
absolutely, everything
will flow out much better if you just keep trying.
And they say in basketball, a shooter never gets out of his slump by stopping his shot. So you got to keep shooting. I think that is one of the best things to say, because we are in a very fickle generation where everybody gets so easily discouraged. And they're just so easy to just be like, I'm going to try to numb away this pain and not even worry about it.
Yes.
Because I've seen, like, it was a Mozzie quote I seen on some kid's page, and it was like, the drugs numb what time don't, or the drugs heal what time don't. And it's like that mentality that we gotta like just numb ourselves through this experience instead of like sticking it out and figuring out what'll happen. And a lot of people, they don't have the vision to say, hey, like, even if this isn't exactly what I wanted, I might reach something along those lines. So like that's one of the things I want to do in my program, is to inspire people and empower them to know that even though things get discouraging and it gets hard and you're going to have those days where you don't want to do it, because, you know, what I learned in basketball too was, right, if we did things based on how we feel, we would never get anything done.
That is true.
Like, you would never get anything done if you convince yourself, well, I don't really feel like going to this class, and I don't really feel like picking up the brush today. And I know that's like, I'm a victim of that too, because I don't write all the time. I only have so many poems because I only pick up the pen certain days. And I do that mostly because I get like, one, I got like a lot going on all the time. And two, it doesn't just come to me naturally. Like, people think like, oh, like you could just pick up the pen and write like hella dope shit all the time. It's like, no, like I gotta be feeling something.
Yeah,
like,
you have to be in the mood for that type of thing. I'm the same way with painting, because once I'm like in my zone, I don't want to do any, like if I started painting and someone's like, hey, you want to go do this, or
like,
oh, can I come over? I'm like, oh no, like I can't.
I got shit
Because if I
to do.
because if I stop, it's just done for the day. Like I can't just put myself in a mood to paint, and that's why, that's one thing with like when I do commissions, I try and give everyone like a date, like okay, this is when I'm gonna start, and then I usually like send pictures for updates and stuff, because I don't ever like to force. I always get it done on time, but I don't ever like to force it when I'm not feeling it, because it never comes out good.
Yeah.
You have to be in your zone to be able to get it done.
And that probably like changes a lot of people's work in general, because I know that there are so many pieces where I wanted to throw them away because I felt like I was forcing it. And I did, and they were probably great pieces that I'll never know about, because I learned like lately when I wrote Lover and when I wrote Hater, that people really liked them. And those pieces, I was about to throw them away at least several times.
Really?
Yeah, as I was going through, they're exactly how I started writing them, and I was just like, this is hella trash. This is too sappy. This is too much this is this. And I was like, well, I'm going to throw it away. Well, let me let one person hear it. And I said it to them, and they're like, where's the rest? And I'm like, chill. It's just, you know?
Yeah, no, it's
and then they hype me up, and I'm
good.
like, I get that passion again for it. But it's like, sometimes it's those little moments. If I didn't have those people to say, hey, no, that shit's dope, like, I would have stopped. And a lot of people stop because they don't have someone to say, that shit's dope.
Yeah, or give them that little push.
Yeah, like, no, you got to just keep, stick it out. Yeah. So, like, even, one of my issues now, she's probably going to see this after the fact, but I didn't think this artist that I was working with was terribly good, but I wanted her to go through this process to see like how arduous it is, and like it's not simple to become a musician, and I'm not even a musician to say like this is exactly how it's gonna go, but she didn't really follow that, and now I'm in this predicament where I have to like kind of explain like you didn't really invest in yourself, so now I don't want you to. In that situation. And it's like, it's all about how much you apply for yourself. Like, whatever you get is how much effort you put into that.
That is very true.
And a lot of people don't understand that. And one of the things is, like, trying to gain visibility. So, like, a lot of people in my situation, they want the visibility, but they don't want to put in the work. So, like, looking at artists right now, how has visibility and opportunity changed for artists?
I would say is social media. Because remember I was telling you that we have like a larger platform now with like Instagram, Twitter, I mean I guess Facebook, but not really with that.
Too many algorithms, I think, to try to make it like stick, but that's just about every social media site now. They're all gaining these algorithms. I can't even handle Twitter these days because it looks like a bunch of regurgitated tweets.
Yeah.
But I know it's not, because there are original people out there. It's just hard to find them because of stuff.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think social media algorithms have changed so much in a short amount of time, because think about it, 2010 is when Twitter like started popping. And look at what we have now. We're all the way to like Periscope. Like everything's moved to like live, indirect, like I want to see your shit right now.
Yeah.
And that puts a lot of pressure on people, because look what it's done to hip hop, right? You can't even respond to a beef and like at the end of the year. Like you used to be able to get like, I got you at the end of the year though, I'm gonna make this shit that's on Snap. And now it's like, where is it at?
Yeah.
You should have had it right before they released theirs, so you could have released it right after. Like, it's so unrealistic in this capacity that everything is so directed on demand. Even if like you make a picture, I feel like I don't understand how artists can do it, because if you make a picture, right, and you put it online, somebody just has to screenshot it and make it look like they own it. You
Yeah,
know,
see, that's
there
another
could be somebody
thing.
in the world like printing out your shit on a
Right,
board
yeah.
and just selling it.
And that exists too.
That's bullshit.
You know,
It's bullshit.
it is.
That's
It
what
really is. But people do it. It's crazy. But yeah, so I mean, that's where social media is. That's like a negative impact. But as for positive, I mean, I made these Marilyn Monroe Simpsons mashup pins, if you saw that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I put them on my site, and you know how Instagram offers if you could change your Instagram to like a business profile? Okay, well, I did that recently, and it kind of shows me like
Their
where
insight?
my where they're from. And like I have people from Spain, Italy, the UK, and that's crazy to me, because I'm like, dang, like these people see all of my stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And I've had like people just like comment on my stuff, and they're from everywhere. You know, of course, like my main base is here in Fresno, but I mean, I have people from different parts of California or New York, and like just everywhere, and that's where it's positive, and you can reach so many different people.
It's like expanded everything to where we're all at each other's fingertips. I think the biggest thing too is like converting the sale on it, because you can get a bunch of people to be invested in your life and what you're doing, even your art or whatever your passion is, but to make a financial living off of it. Like that's why I have so much respect for like underground artists, right? Because they're able to make their market work for them. Like you don't have to be super rich, but you still have to be able to find a way to invest in it. Like all of I don't want to say their names, but you know, like the biggest celebrities, right? They have like millions of followers, but think of how much they make off of people purchasing. It's probably not nearly as close or equal to how many people actually follow them. So I think that it helps in the sense that it helps you gauge and see more people. It gives you exposure to more people, but is it actually converting in the sense that they're investing in your life? They're showing up to your shows. They're, you know, supporting even community projects that you're doing, because that's, I think, one of the ultimate tests. If someone invests in what you're doing charity for, that means they care about you as a person and the things that you're doing with your life. A lot of people don't get that far.
That is true. You know what I will say is a lot of the reason why I do, because I do a lot of collaborative shows, I feel like, and it's because of Wise Fools. They're from the Central Valley, and they get a collection of artists, I guess, from just all over, and we do collaborative shows. Most of them are themed, and a lot of people come out to them because they're the themes everybody wants. Like, I don't know if you knew about the Simpsons show that they did, but it was at the Art House a while back. But yeah, just collaborating with them, and then I started getting involved in shows like Taste the Arts and Queens of Style. That's in Visalia, and so like I have like not that many people over there, but like I have my people where I'm like, oh hey, like what's this, you know, and it just connects everybody.
Yeah, and that's kind of what needs to happen, because we're already a small market community anyways. Like Fresno State is kind of blowing up. But we're like the center for things. If people in Merced, they come here. Sometimes even if Visalia isn't popping, they come here. Hanford, Lemoore, like all of these little cities in between, they either go to Bakersfield or they're going to like Modesto, Tulare, and like out to places. So the Central Valley is a big market. I do a PowerPoint with, you know, some artists if they're trying to go over that stuff, because I have, you know, my stuff set up to the business so I can see the inside where my followers are coming from. You know, I recommend that they pay attention to these things, because that's where you need to be trying to do your shows. If you're doing shows, like it's so much to it. I think we definitely need to find a way to give like power back to artists in a sense that there's so much money to be made, but there's also so many ways to steal money from these artists. Musically, visually, anything that an artist does. So if someone is judging an art piece, because everybody claims to be an expert, like as an artist, how would you judge another person's art?
That's hard to say, because there's so many different styles. I don't know. I guess just keep an open mind, because my style could be different. My style is different from a lot of people that show an art hop, but I don't think is bad. You know what I mean? Like, like so it's completely unrelated. But I'm like, dang, that's really cool. Like, this looks like it's just so abstract or so different or whatever it is. But to judge it, I don't know. I would say don't judge it so hard. You know, like everyone has their style. I don't know. I guess as long as you see it and like you're enjoying it, I don't know. I wouldn't say to judge it, because
you find a better word for it. I think judging is a pretty harsh word and way to kind of look at it. But I just meant more so in the way that if I watch a movie, if I look at a painter paint, my first thought is the detail. What detail they put into that. So if it's a film, I'm looking at everything that's going on in the shot. Did you fuck up and leave somebody's cup on the table, or did you do everything? Your lighting's perfect. Everything is on point. And when it comes to painting, like you said, it's so some people are abstract and it's just supposed to look like that. But I look at detail, all the things that they probably wanted to be important and things that they didn't want to be important. So just so I can say, okay, this is something that is important to them. They might put it in more than one piece, and this is something that creates their type of art. So I don't know how to explain it, because you do different types of pieces, and even in the faces that you do, I can see the detail that you try to use so you can accent certain parts so we feel familiar with the artist. So like I pay attention to that type of stuff. Like when I look at Chance, right, when we take a look at that piece, you added and combined all of the things that I would think of and I would see in Chance. I don't know how to explain it. Like, you know,
no,
like
yeah,
it's more than just saying, oh, he has the cliche little beard and how it looks. Like, you step into it like, I'm going to make sure this is accented so you know, that this is Chance. Because I showed a few people that video in advance, and a good portion didn't know it was Chance.
Oh,
even with the 3 on the, they didn't know. So I was like, it's Chance. But like me looking at it, like as soon as I seen the video, I'm looking at what you're doing, like the lines that you're making, like how you're doing everything. But that's how I approach it, because I know that nothing is easy.
Yeah. No,
but that's why everything falls under art for me too, because I feel like if it's a craft that you have to put so much work into and no one can imitate it like you, I mean, but that's hard to say because in basketball, somebody can shoot the ball like you. But it's like, this is something you worked for and this is considered your craft. That's a little different.
Yeah.
So
I think everyone eventually has their own specific something that you see in, like, okay, I'm going to use paintings as an example. Something you see in their paintings that oh, that's this person.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that style develops eventually, and I think that's what's really cool about just observing other people's stuff. And then you could see them like progress, because
that's the funnest part.
Yeah.
That's the funnest part, because I see like, kids who draw like little Dragon Ball Zs and then they grow up and they can draw like these dope ass dragons and you're like, what the fuck? No, I think that's the coolest. I know a couple of people who do. I know a lot of people who do art. So let me stop. But the next thing that I did want to talk about is because I wish I could remember like word for word. I can remember a lot of things word for words, but there's this analogy about someone asking Picasso to paint a piece for them. And he took like 10 seconds, he handed it over and he was like $10,000 or something. And the guy was like, it only took you 10 seconds to do this. Like, why do you try to charge me so much? And he was like, well, it took me a lifetime to learn the skill to make that. So it's still worth more than that 10 seconds that you're thinking about. So a lot of people always, especially in this generation, they want to tell you how much they're going to pay for stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit next, is how do you come up with your price structure and deal with people negotiating price?
For my price structure, most of it, in all honesty, is just supply. Definitely supply, because the money that I make off of it, of course I have to profit, but it just goes right back into it, because I go out and I go buy the paint, or I buy the spray paint, I buy the canvases, brushes, whatever. I go through things pretty quickly, so I just have them pay for the supply that they're using, the time that I'm putting into it. So if a piece takes me a long time, then that's going to add like a little bit more, you know what I mean? Because, it's taking, that's just like working a job, if you're putting in overtime,
Yeah,
you're gonna
get a little bit more into
right.
it.
Yeah, it's all the same. And I would say quality too, as weird as that sounds, because I like to just, I mean, you have to like price your things like for what it's worth. Like, what do you think of it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I'm painting something, I kind of think, well, I try to put myself in the customer's shoes as well as trying to, you know, meet my ends meet at the same time. So I'm like, okay, I've never been like, oh, I'm gonna freaking sell this for like
$1 million.
Yeah, I've never done that.
Tops,
yeah,
no.
Because I'm like, no, you know, like, I don't know. I just try to give people what I think is my best work and fair. You know, I just try to price it based off of supply and quality.
But that's also very generous, because I mean, a lot of people could just max themselves out. A lot of people price themselves out in a lot of stuff. Like, but do you think you're undervaluing yourself a little bit? Because I seen well, I was reading about how there was a guy who sold his mixtape. It was I think not his very first, but he sold his mixtape for $100, and he got 1,000 people to buy it. So you do the math on that. He got an amazing amount from it, but he got a lot of slack for making it $100. But he was saying, I know my value and I know how much I'm worth, so I will be able to find people who will be willing to pay this. And he was able to find a small amount. It's not Beyonce numbers, but just think about how profound that is. Like, he didn't undersell himself. So I think
that's true. It's
a delicate balance, because you want to, at the same time, make sure that you're giving everybody a good quality, because you want you know, people to be able to come back. I'm a little different because I do so much. I want everybody else to win, and I kind of get my buzz and my name from just doing it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, my name is on it. Take a look at all the cool shit. Like, I mean, and that's good for me. I have people who are way more affluent than me. Like, on Snapchat, I send everybody in my contacts. So if I follow like a handful of celebrities, they get it too. I've had some of them write back and think that like I have this amazing life, and I'm like, no, I just try to do cool shit all the time. Like, I go hiking, you know, waterfalls and all that stuff. Like, but I don't undervalue myself when I'm shooting other projects too. But we're gonna take a small little break, and Selina's gonna let you know where you can take a look at some more of her art.
Big Cartel, slagger.bigcartel.com. I just have some paintings, some of the pins I saw. I try to switch it up, so there's always something different usually.
Yes. And I like all of her POC stuff, so if you guys want to check any of that out. So we did get into a little bit of negotiating and pricing, but as someone who also believes that it should be more negotiable, do you think that pricing should be negotiable, and who should decide it?
I think if there's any negotiating, it should be the artist, because...
Like recommending, like, let's negotiate, or it should be... Because what do you mean? What do you mean in this?
I mean, okay.
Wait a minute.
Because if someone came up to me and was like, because I think I like how you're saying, like, it was pretty generous. Like,
yeah, that's generous. Like,
I'm not saying that I think I'm so generous. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I meant. But like, I think that if I came up with the price, then that's my price. You know what I mean? Don't go up to someone and be like, hey, that's nice, let me give you $3 for it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then expect that person to be like, oh, yes, because, I don't know, I feel like there's kind of a misconception with artists, too, that people just think like, oh, I'm going to just pay them this and they'll do whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, that image that you'll just take peanuts because you're just happy to make some money.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about that. Yeah, no, that's hella disrespectful. Yeah. But I feel like the business type of person in me also would say, like, you got to negotiate, like, just a small portion, just because I'm like that main person. I'm at the store like, well, let me see if I can get it for $3 less than if I can. Yeah. But I think that art is something that is so delicate because you can't tell somebody, like, how to weigh something. It's like, it's probably completely unrelated and it doesn't connect, but like when I talk to people about empathy and sympathy, they're great words, but you can't measure how much we both love a grandparent. So if we lose our grandparent, we can't really, you know? So you can't really, in the same capacity when it comes to art, you can't say like, I know how much you should pay me.
No, yeah, I get what you mean.
How much I should pay you. I know how much I should pay you because this is like the person who's asking an artist, like, hey, you should pay me this amount. I mean, I should pay you this amount to make that piece. Now I'm getting tongue-tied. But that's what I mean. Like, a portion of me wants to say, like, oh, you should be able to say, let me talk you down a little bit. But then the other side is like, I can't tell you, like, you experience all of this in life and that it's only worth this $3.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's worth more, but, hey, let me get it for the $3. Just a little bit. But that's like I said, like, it's slightly a hustler mentality. Like, let me get that for the low real quick.
I mean, I've negotiated with people before, so I'm not strictly like, no, it's this, like, this is what you're going to pay me. You know what I mean? Like, if someone is really, if I see that someone really likes something, and they're like, oh, man, you know, and they're like, they really want it.
You'll be
like,
more.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
More inclined.
Because I'm not going to be like, I don't know. I just feel like if it's going to a good home, and I'm still, like, profiting off of it, and, like, someone's going to enjoy it, then why not?
Yeah.
You know?
I can't say the same thing for me because I'm more in the music capacity. And I feel like artists in, like, that area are robbed so much. I feel like there should be, like, a way to, on the internet, track, basically, like, how many tracks have been, like, stolen. Like, I feel like, or downloaded. I know, like, right, Torrent Bay and all of those sites, they track how many, you know, seeds or however many people are streaming that stuff. But I feel like there's a way somewhere on the internet in its entirety to be able to track that stuff. Because there's, like, so much money that's, like, on the table that's just gone now. It makes no sense to me. But to wrap up that negotiation part, I think if you're a hustler, you're going to try to negotiate anyways. But it is disrespectful, especially in your medium of art. In music, like, you might be able to talk somebody down on a beat. Like, if you're leasing a beat or even purchasing a beat, you can, you know, talk somebody down. If they're writing a track for you, you can probably sign them to, like, okay, you only get rights for when it's played on the radio or something. But when you're asking somebody to dedicate time to create you a piece that you're going to keep forever, like, you can't even value that. Like, because for all they know, you're making, like, I convinced you to make me a $3 chance painting. But in my head, it's, like, invaluable. I'll never sell it. So, like, who gets to decide that price is what I mean. Like I said, I include everything as art. I do poetry, but I don't like poetry, really. I like spoken word. It's so weird. It's so weird. I tell people all the time, I don't really listen to poetry. I don't know poets that are out, because that shit's boring to me. Like, you got to be in there selling me on, like, no, if you watch Brave New Voices, it's, it used to be on HBO, I think, which one is, Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons used to run it, but it was like a bunch of kids, and they would do competitions, and they would slam together and do their stuff. Like, that's the stuff I like. Oh, yeah,
that's right. I was trying to think. What was that show? Yeah.
Yeah, Brave New Voices. So, and they get on there, and, you know, my favorite was give this poem a 7, because they never slammed and gave anybody under a 7. So they were, like, always super generous. Shows like that are the shit to me, basically. Yeah. But with that, what do you think the best art medium is?
Does this have to be?
This is art. This is included in anything, because this can actually be a debate, because I will probably tell you what art medium I think is better than whatever you're saying.
Dang.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't like poetry, so I can't say poetry is the best art medium. I would probably say, I can't say hip hop either, because it's fell off so much. It's not even hip hop anymore. It's just rap. I might have to say basketball.
Basketball?
I might have to say basketball, because look, right? A lot of people don't believe me when I say it in this too. Like, so think about all of it that you have to do. So basketball isn't just like you got to play defense. You're not a lineman, right? It's not soccer. You can't just stay on your portion of the field in your little square circle or whatever you got to be. I mean, the sweet science of boxing is an amazing art, because it's just your name is on your back, and you got to step in the ring and show what you can do. I did not. Oh, but if, you know, life played out differently, I probably would have. If I didn't play basketball, I would have been boxing. I got quick hands. I got a temper, and I like to fight. So I might have not been that bad at it, but it would be between basketball and boxing, because there's so much in that. It's more than just like, oh, I'm going to work on this jump shot. Like, that's respect right there. But are you in defensive position? Are you smart enough mentally to know about angles, you know, setting traps, and using more than just oh, you're on the court. Like, that's why I have a lot of respect for LeBron James, because he's more than just, I'm going to get on this court and do this one thing. You know, are you chasing down for the block? Are you playing both sides of the ball? Are you rebounding? Like, and in that, the training that goes with it, like, there's a reason why athletes don't look like the older, you know, men, like the Larry Birds you think of in the olden, not even olden. I'm acting like I'm super old. You know, in the time before. But in that, like, you can see how much athletes have changed, how they're built physically, because it's like a craft and you have to be on it these days. And that's why they talk shit about, like, athletes who can't make a free throw. It's like, you get paid all that money, you're in all of that shape. Look at your body. Like, you are a physical specimen. You can't make a damn free throw. Like, so those would probably be some of the best mediums to me.
Dang.
But that's why I'm like,
It's hard. Okay, like, thinking outside of art, there's so many things that I could say. Like, I mean art as in, like, what you think of when you think of art, like
painting and sculpting.
Yeah, like, outside of that, it's really hard because I feel like so many things are like that,
art.
you know?
Well, yeah, you gotta pick one. Pick one. You gotta pick one.
Can it be, like, within the art?
It can be whatever you want, because anything counts as art to me. That's why when I tell people I'm doing this, it's art. Whatever I count as art, you're in. Let's fucking do something.
Okay. So I'm gonna say it's actually something that I'm not very good at yet. I'm trying to work on it.
Okay, goals, chasing 30.
Yeah, for sure. Is spray paint, like spray painting.
Oh.
Like, see me, like, I do, like, my galaxies and my planets and stuff, but that's just, like, a branch of something that you could do with a spray paint can. Like, for people that could go out and do, like,
graffiti and stuff?
Yeah, like, legitimate graffiti. That is amazing to me because I'm like, dang, like, they could hit a straight line or, like, they could hit a flare, and it just looks like, it's so cool. And I'm just like, man.
The colors, no.
Yes, just, like, everything about it, because that is so hard. Have you ever tried to spray paint a wall?
No, I can just look at it and know I'm not inclined to tell that at all. I can't even make straight lines with a piece of paper. So I'm not going to try to spray paint
It's
anything.
not easy. Like, oh my gosh. No, yeah.
I think the blending of the colors and all of that stuff, once they get there, I get overwhelmed already just looking. Like, you knew that if you laid that over top that, because they'll, like, spray a line, and they'll make hella lines, and then they'll spray something under it and blend it, and I'm like, okay, where are you going with this? And then they'll put something on top, and then it looks like the sun. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah,
like,
and then it's like overlap. Yeah, see, it's crazy. I don't know. I just, like, that is one thing that I want to be able to do eventually.
Yeah.
Like, I want to work up to that because I don't know. I just have a lot of respect for people that can pick up a can and go to a wall.
It's
and
harder
like,
too.
Yes, it's crazy.
Harder.
So when you see, like, people do their letters and it's just like, oh man, that's what I would pick.
Next topic of discussion, like, what do you think the original purpose of art was?
I think it's to leave a mark, or like to tell a story, kind of, because when art, I don't know when art started, but like, I mean, like back with like cave people and all that, they would, like, you know, draw the buffaloes.
Yeah.
So they're like leaving something behind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like in a way, that's what everyone does when
Like
they paint a picture.
marketplace?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of gives you a chance to leave a mark.
Yeah, that's crazy. You just made me think about, like, my philosophy class, and no, he was talking about how, like, we're all just in this, like, minute moment of history. Like, if you go into outer space, like, our time has passed. You know what I mean? And then it just made me think, like, you be painting outer space, and you're like, you know, it all ties in, just philosophy, because I do have this belief that really, like, the artists that are out in this world that people are, like, sleeping on, like, we all have these insanely good ideas that could add so much value to the world, but we're all numbed out because nobody wants to feel. No one wants to be in that capacity where you can create something other. People don't even want to create. Like, you know, like, the vision in life is to grow up and do absolutely nothing and get paid for it. Right? Like, I just got to post an Instagram picture of me selling detox and I'm going to make hella money. Yay. Like, no, like, you actually have to want to do something. And that's, like, coming with finding your purpose. I think the original purpose of art was exactly like you said, like, to mark a moment in time. But then that also makes me think like about the pyramids.
What about them?
Like, that's marking a place in time, and yes, we can probably time stamp the history on when that was, but like, it's not as prevailing as it is now. So that's like saying like everything we're doing now is eventually going to be like obsolete and pointless. But I don't believe that. I believe that everything we're doing is for that purpose. All you have in this life is your moment to create something to be remembered. At this point, that's all we have left, is something to be remembered. So I guess it's kind of changing my thoughts on what the purpose of art is as we're speaking. Because normally, you know, before this, I was like, no, I'm so certain that this is what it was about. But now I'm like kind of questioning it, because it like, and even the next question was, you know, is art conditional? And that kind of like ties into that too, because like the pyramids aren't shit to little kids right now, because they, well, for one, they can't really see it next to them. They have a better chance though, because we're in a society where somebody could take a picture, tag it, and they could literally see it, like they're right there. They could do like the 360 view, but it's also conditional based on like the person's life experience. Because you got to think about too, like, we think like this stuff is so cool, like the paintings and, you know, hip hop and stuff. And then there's somebody in like a third world country, like, who gives a fuck? You know, your shit is hella weak. Nobody cares. Like,
that's true.
So it depends on like so much art being like, well, that's just my view of it being conditional. And it, so yeah, man, you just took me to a moment where I'm just like thinking about so much stuff, because the purpose of it really did change. Like, yes, it does mark and stamp this place in time, but does it matter?
I don't know.
Enter Twilight Zone music. Ooh, does it matter?
I think it is. I think it is conditional too, because how I had mentioned this before with okay, one of my favorite artists is Justin Bua, and his art, I guess in a way, like the things that we do are like somewhat related, and I would like hope to one day be on that kind of level. He paints, his is all hip hop related, and he grew up in New York, so it's like New York background. He used to be a b-boy, like he was into graffiti too. He did like all of the above, like everything that I have respect for or like an interest in or something I just like enjoy, you know?
Yeah.
And well, most of his art actually, he paints stuff that he was like a part of, or just stuff that he liked, you know what I mean? And hip hop had a lot to do with that. So like a lot of his paintings show like groups of people like breakdancing like b-boys, or you know, someone with a boombox walking down the street.
Yeah, the cliche like New York scene.
Yeah. But it has like a certain, I don't know how to explain, like his perspective, the way he paints, it's kind of like the way a person like pops and locks. Like, it's crazy.
What do you mean?
Like, yeah, no, it's crazy, because I was like looking at his stuff, and I've seen some of his interviews before, and he explained like, because he used to do that, and he was like saying that, you know, it's all angular, you know, and so the like people's arms, like it's like squared off, and it's like the moves that you do when you're doing that dance, you know, and he explained it. And then I looked at his pieces, and I was like, oh, that makes so much sense.
You can see
like,
it in all of it, huh?
Yeah, now I get it. Like, I get it more. So, I don't know, I kind of feel like it just marks a time. And for his pieces, it's like his history, how he grew up, the things. Because he was more like, he was in that area. He actually got to like experience it and like
there just breaking it and all of that. No.
Yeah.
He probably was, and that's good. Well, yeah, that switched my view back again. Because then you got to think, like, well, no, because nothing's important to everybody, right? So, I mean, even if it's not going to make this huge stamp, other artists are going to grow up under someone and say, okay, that's cool. You know, that fits more with my style, because there are so many niches and things like that. So, I mean, art is at least serving its purpose. It is, you know. I mean, I remember a lot of dates in time from music's, like, songs. Like, I'll just be like, that song came out during that year. No, I'm sure of it, because I remember at that time. Came out, I was grooving. I remember specifically. So
you remember where you were at, who you were hanging out with.
And that makes it even more conditional, too, because, like, right, if you're not, I mean, some songs are good, but if you're not like going through a breakup and you hear like one of the Neo Sick of Love songs, like unless you're going through it, it hits you. But then unless you're going through it, you're like, oh, you're right, Neo. I'm sick of them love songs. Like you really have to be in a certain type of atmosphere. Like, and even when I listen to mixtapes, I listen to it straight through, and I can't like have any interruptions because I feel like I took from the artist's intentions of how I wanted to hear it or how they wanted me to hear it. So like, I think for sure it's conditional, but I think people need to open up their perspective so it doesn't matter the condition, and you might be a little more receptive to things that are going on. But all of that wraps up our episode, Da Vinci Prospects. To finish off, we're going to take a quick little break, and then we're going to have Selina finish the Chance to Rap her piece.